Hey, Wakusa, what's going on, family? It's Yundugu, Shaka Jajaga Shakur, aka M. Casa the Bush Doctor, coming back at you with another episode of African Talk, where Africans talk worldwide. And as always, I hope you're good. I hope your family is good. And we pray that the Creator and the ancestors guide our words in the right and not the wrong. So let's get in it. Hey, Wukusu, we're back. Yo, check this out, family. I really want to talk deep today about the global perspective and the global situation and tie it in. Malcolm X said that if you want to understand your problem, then you have to look at the global problem. You know what I mean? So you can see just how it relates to what you're going through. And that's really what Pan Africanism is, right? It's not some little clique, it's not a group to bang out with, it's none of that. It's about clinically and critically studying our situation globally so we can have a better understanding of what's happening locally, right? You really won't understand white supremacy if you just look at it from the perspective of what we go through here, which indeed is white supremacy, aka white nationalism. But when you see it on a global level, then you can begin to understand how the colonization process takes place globally. And you can make comparisons. You can say, hey, they're going through this, I'm going through the same thing. They're going through that, I'm going through the same thing. And then you can start to use your mathematics, if you will, and see that what they're going through is caused by a person that looks just like the person causing me problems. We got the same enemy. So we must be the same people, right? So let's get into it. Check it out. And on one last note, before I get into this channel, African Talk, is a channel that I want to grow into a think tank. I want this to grow into like your CNN for African worldwide information. That's what I want this to grow into. To one day where I have correspondents from different parts of the world sending in and talking and sharing. Okay. We're open to different ideas, but we're not open to division here in African Talk. And before I start, man, let me shout out to the people behind the scenes. There are people behind the scenes who are diligently giving me information so I can study, letting me know things that are going on because I can't be everywhere at once. So when they bring this stuff to me, I bring it to you. And you out there, if you see something you want to bring to me or you want me to speak on, man, just hit me up in the comments. You know, go in the comments and hit me up. Hey, Shaka, you know, I just found this out, or did you know about this, or whatever the case may be. And it can range in topics from international politics, local situations, history, whatever it is that affects us. I want to know about it. Let me get into this. All right. So check it. In Sudan, we have this massive ethnic cleansing going on, right? And I'm trying to choose my words wisely because I don't want to give them no reason to try to get in the way. So you know what I mean. The big G, right? The big G word. Yeah. And I'm censoring, even though I don't like doing that because I don't want nothing to interfere this message. So this ethnic cleansing that's going on has been going on throughout that region, Sudan, Darfur, for quite some time. Now, as a younger man, I remember the Darfur situation like 2011, 2010, 2012, around then. It's been going on that long. And I went with a group of individuals to the Sudanese consulate in New York. And I sat down in a room where we were talking with officials. Even the president of Sudan was there. And really, I wasn't impressed because this man had no answers. And at that point, I began to understand what a puppet leadership really looks like, you know, and how disconnected it is. So here we are, fast forward. And I'm going to go into today. And, you know, why I'm speaking on it because it's our responsibility. Just like we got up for Gaza, and big up to the people in Gaza. Y'all keep fighting your fight, man. Keep fighting your fight. You know what I mean? The world is with you. We see what's going on. But I as an African, I have to make sure that the light comes over here too, because there's no press over here at all, and that can't go. So I'm gonna do it, and we gonna do it. So in here we have this group called the RFS. Rapid RSF, Rapid Support Force, and a militia, basically, a Western backed militia. And what I want to talk about today is what they're doing And then I want you to understand the long game because they're Western back. They derived from a group called the Janjaweed. And the Janjaweed were a group of black Arabs, right, who were systematically raiding villages along the border in Darfur and causing mass violence, if you will, against the people in the name, they said Islam, but no, it was really just to clear that land so that Western powers can get in there and take advantage of that land. That's what that was. And that Janjaweed situation, pretty soon Boko Haram was there. All of these groups, ISIS, the Taliban, Boko Haram, Janjaweed, the RFS, all these groups are Western backed groups. Let's be clear about that. They are backed by Western European powers because at some point they want access to the land so they can get the minerals. And the best way to clear the land is through controversy. That always works. And I'll get into how they do that here later. I don't want to jump around. So, bringing it up to speed, we're dealing with this situation now where it was a raid recently. This was brought to my attention. 2,000 people unalived in one raid, right? They were this RSF, these black Arab militias were making people bury themselves. I seen footage of people like digging holes and getting in, preparing to be buried alive. They had another woman hanging by her elbows, and when I saw that situation, if I flashed right back to a picture I saw during slavery where they had a sister hanging by her elbows, and I'm like, wow, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. This connection is clear. They're even using the same torture tactics as the Europeans. Come on, man. So anyway, I want to put some names and faces to this, and I want to show you the long game, why this is really going on. All right. So with all this, we have kidnappings, human trafficking, you know, SAs going on, all sorts of physical assaults on women and children, the kidnapping of women, forced converting into Islam. And before I go any further, this is not an attack on Islam as a religion, because it's like Christianity. I don't have a beef with either one of those philosophies. But just like the European here takes Christianity and weaponizes it, weaponizes the religion and weaponizing the concept to really talk about white nationalism, well, it's the same thing over there with these Arabs. These Arabs are taking Islam and using Islam, as a weapon. And historically, it's been like that. So it didn't, there's a myth that Islam spread with the sword through Africa and so did Christianity. That's a myth. Christianity didn't spread through Africa strictly with the sword. Some converted because they believed what they heard. Just like Islam, some converted because they related to them. But then there's a wave. There's a wave. After a while, there was a wave that came in, and this wave came in through war. And what they would do in Islam with the Arabs and the Africans is the early Arabs would marry into the African royalty. So they now are part of the village, just like Europeans now who buy their way into statehood in Africa. They become kings all of a sudden because they could pay. But see, the danger of that is once this person becomes royalty, then you can't question them. Back then, you couldn't question them. So then they would have children with these African women. But then they would take that African male child over to Arab country, over to, you know, uh, the so-called Arab world, you know, and bring them up there, raise them up there. So now these African children no longer relate to their African culture. So let's say they are Fulani, right? Now they're born as a Fulani, but then they're taken way over to Cairo somewhere and raised in a culture that is anti-African. So this child grows up with an allegiance to people who don't even like you. It's just like when these Europeans take these black children and adopt them. They're not adopting them because they can't find a home. That's plenty of black people want to adopt. They adopt these children and then they raise these children in non-African homes, and eventually these children become the same ones to oppress other Africans. So now you take these children China doing it too right now. Y'all like all that Shaolin, right? With the little black kids and all that. Well, those black kids are gonna be trained and they're gonna come back to Africa, un-Africa. They're gonna be anti-African. And they're gonna probably run companies because they have a loyalty outside of their own. And this is what they did for years. So when you hear about these Mansa Musa, I like them all. I like or Sonny Bilal. I like all of them. Sunni Bilal. I like all of them. I respect all of them. But the idea, the reality is they persecuted a lot of other Africans, but then there was beef going on. I get it. But see, this is what's happening. Now we take it now. It's the same thing. So these people have dark skin like you and me. So the Europeans backed them to go in there and cause this chaos. And they're causing the chaos in the name of Islam, which obviously is going to rally up the non-Islamic Africans to fight them. And then the world just sees black and black fighting and they don't get involved. But let's look at who the players are. Who are the people putting this money behind these groups, right? So we got France, USA, and definitely Israel. Come on now. We already know what it is. That's the West right now because France just got kicked out. So they want back in. They want in bad. You know what I mean? They want, and America's like, yo, we'll help you get in, but then you're gonna cut us in something. And wherever America goes, Israel's right there. They in bed together, right? Now you got Russia, China. That's a whole nother page, but we're not gonna talk about that today. We're gonna talk about this right here. So now, Shaka, how do you know that America is backing this situation up? Okay, here's how I know. I looked it up. I said I want to know who's got bases, where are the American bases in Africa. So they are American bases are in Djibouti, Kenya, Somalia, Niger, Central African Republic, Uganda, Chad, and Ghana. Right? Now, so then I went to a map. So I went to this map right here. I went to the map, and I'm looking at the map on my phone right now because it's not on screen, but I'm gonna put up on screen for you. So on this map, I said, wow, where is Burkina Faso? All right, so Burkina Faso is south of Mali. It's connected to Niger and Nigeria and Chad, but then the Sudan. So if you look at the map, you can go from the Sudan straight through Chad to Nigeria to Mali to Burkina Faso, or you can go through Nigeria down into Burkina Faso, or from Niger into Burkina Faso, right? So I just said America has bases in Niger, Somalia, Kenya, Chad. So Niger and Chad, two countries that are currently supporting Burkina Faso's independence, and they're getting down too, saying y'all got to go to the European. So now you get to them and you block them. All right, so then let's take a long shot. Sudan is the base we're setting off right now, right? So Chad has American bases. How hard is it for them to slip across the border into the Sudan and train forces or get them into the base over there and train them and send them back? You think it can't happen? You never heard of the School of Americas? Go do your homework. America trains everybody. America trains everybody. Believe that. Because they got a vested interest. It's not hard, family. So now you look at this, right? Okay, so I just gave you a little quick map of what's going on. So the long game is to destabilize the surrounding areas. It's like a siege. When you're in the military, they have what's called a siege. You don't attack, you just cut off everything around it. And see, Burkina Faso is landlocked, right? Ghana's Ivory Coast, Mali on top of it, Benin next to it, Niger right next to it. Now Nigeria, it's kind of shaky over there right now. Politically, it's very shaky right now in Nigeria. They're going through their own strife. But you see that they could be exploited. That unstable situation can be exploited in Western favor because they're not really jumping on board with the whole, you know, Burkina Faso, Chad, and Niger and Mali. No, they're not rocking with them like that. So they could set up camp there. And the Sudan is the perfect place to start. So what are they doing? They're causing a ethnic war. Wait a minute. Hold on. That's the same thing going on here. Ah. At the same time that Burkina Faso and other countries have come together in their alliance, the West is causing this madness to break it up. So you got Mali, Niger, and Senegal. These are the three places that say, yo, we down with you. We rocking with you, Ibrahim, all the way. Now, Ibrahim Traore is a Muslim too. I don't see him killing Christians. I don't see him hurting anybody, right? Everybody in that country is not Islamic. Let's be real. But I don't see no beef going on. That, to me, is what Islam is supposed to be. It's about peace. But when you got people, just like I believe Christianity, deep down inside, the teachings of Jesus, it's about peace and humanity, right? But the people who represent that, who want power, use that to trick the blind into going. It's the same way that Trump uses, the people who say they are down with this MAGA thing, who are not too educated, who fall for anything. It's the same phobia that is pumped into their heads about black people, brown people, red people, and yellow people. We're going to take their job. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So they vote the way they vote, right? Well, it's the same thing over there. It's the same trick being played. And at the end of the day, who's behind it all? Western forces. They're the ones behind it all. So real quick, because I don't want to drag this too long, I'm just touching on bases, and we're going to keep going with this. I want to bring to you the name of one of the major players. Now, this dude is named, he's a commander. His name is Isa Abu Lulu. Now, you can't really see his picture, and I don't want to, let me cover the sister up. She brought the story, but this guy right here, yeah, this Maxi Priest looking dude, he is responsible for so much unaliving. There's video of him laughing and joking while dudes are pleading for their life, and then he turns around and shoots them like it's nothing. Man, this dude looked like Maxi Priest, man. For real, for real. He looked like Maxi Priest, like an R&B singer. Dude got locks and everything. But in his mind, he ain't African. And he ain't those Africans. Even if he claimed it, he's an Arab. Trust me. And then they got the camo on. Where'd they get the camo from? Western forces. European forces. European finances. The same people who finance the record labels here that sell us the poison in the form of music. The same, people that sell us all the garbage we see on TV here. All the garbage that gets filtered in our mind every day. There's a ethnic cleansing going on here. There's a cultural cleansing going on right here. And those same people are paying for that to go on so they can get the minerals and everything they've been getting. They don't like the fact that now this idea of liberation is spreading through Africa. People are either jumping on it or they thinking about it, or they talking tough at least. They don't like that. It's no coincidence that as soon as Burkina Faso hit the scene and started making power moves, and America made their threat to go at the brother, and the whole black world stood up and like, nah, leave that dude alone. Right at that precise moment, I'm not African. We foundational black Americans, or we this, we that, we Indians, we Solon, and all these other titles. Really, it's cool. I mean, you can be whatever you want, but y'all don't see how the arguments, the whole riff was created to take our attention away from the possibility of a global unified front. That's what it was. To make sure we don't ever think about uniting as a people, as one people. And you have these religious leaders here, Islamic leaders, Christian black leaders, it doesn't matter. None of them are saying anything about Sudan, You got all these Islamic leaders, black American Islamic leaders. They were all up in arms about Gaza, which is what you're supposed to do. How are you going to be up in arms about Gaza and you don't got nothing to say about Africa and you look just like these people? I mean, make it make sense to me. All these mega church, you got these Arab-minded Africans going in and mass erasing Africans who are either Christian, not Islamic enough, or traditional. All you black people that I'm a black spiritualist, I'm an African spiritualist, I don't believe. Okay, well, guess what? That same thing you practicing, your whatever it is, your hoodoo, your Ifa, and all that other stuff came from over there. And people over there are suffering. You know, a lot of you down with Ifa and all that's Nigeria, right? Yo, I went to Nigeria. I got brought in. I got what is it? Initiated. You know, I'm official. You run out all your beads on and all that. Well, in Nigeria right now, there are groups like Boko Haram systematically wiping folks out because they not practicing what they say they should practice. All you black Christians with these mega churches, why do I gotta turn on a European Christian channel and hear them talking about what's going on in Africa? And I'm not gonna say they're not sincere. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say they are. But why we ain't saying nothing? That's what I want to understand. But I turn on here and all I hear is what you not and what you don't support. But I don't hear what you do support. What you think? Because according to you, all your roots are from here, so that don't got nothing to do with you. You don't see how it connects, and you don't see how it's done. Where you gonna get your goods from? Let's start there. Who you gonna do business with, Mr. Black Entrepreneur? Mr. I've always been an America entrepreneur. See that flag back there? You know what I mean? I rep that, no doubt. But that goddamn flag was made in Taiwan or China somewhere. Y'all run around buying this off TikTok just like I did. We ain't the ones producing that. You know why? Because we have no textiles. And you know why we have no textiles? Because we have no industrial allies. And you know why we have no industry or industrial allies? Because fools lead fools into believing that we are not connected with the worldwide scene. So while we, the biggest spenders here, are not invested in other Africans around the world, China is doing it. Russia is doing it. And whatever China and Russia are not able to go in and negotiate for the win, France, America, Israel, Germany, England, all those other European powers are moving in to take it. And we still sitting here arguing about identity. Look, Sudan is the prototype of what you can expect right here. John Jaweed over there, RSF over there, right? Boko Haram over there, ICE over here, law enforcement over here, particularly ICE. You looking at a militia in effect every day in our communities. That's a militia. That's a militia that is not about upholding the law. It is about persecuting anyone who is not white, Christian. Period. Because that's Aryan Christian nationalism. Just like that's Christian fanaticism at its best. White supremacy is based on the ideology or the theology of Christian Aryan nationalism. I don't care what little branch they call itself, that's what it is. That's their theology. The theology over there for those extreme Muslims or so-called, I don't want to call them Muslims, those so-called Muslims, their excuse is you're not this, you're not that, we are. And that gives them the right to do what they do. 2,000 people in a day. Man, hit me in the comments, y'all. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know how you're feeling. And this is a little longer than most of them, but I got to give it to you. Now, hold on. Now, I want to give you some names. I like to give names, receipts. Feel me? All right, so who is the leader? I typed it in. All right. The main militia leader in Sudan is Mohammed Hamdan or Hemditi Dagalo, the commander of the Rapid Support Forces or the RSF. Hemeti has been a central figure in the power struggle with the Sudanese army, and his RSF forces are a key component in that conflict. The RSF leader, Mohammed Hamdan or Hemditi Dagalo, I'm chopping that name up, is the commander of the Rapid Support Forces, like I said. The power struggle, now you got Dagalo and his RSF have been in conflict with the Sudanese armed forces led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. Background: Hamedti came to prominence after his militia, the Janjaweed, was integrated into the RSF under President Omar al-Bashir's government. Recent events: the fighting between the RSF and the army has escalated in April 2023, and the RSF has recently been accused of committing widespread human rights abuses, including in the city of El Fasher. Now, I gave you some names, and in the edit, I'm gonna put faces with the names. So you know how I do. I say it, boop, it pops up. I want you to go home and do your studying, family. And I want you to send, prayers, information, support, and let's strategize on how we can bring more light to that, man. I don't have time to argue with people who don't want to be African. That's your business. You do that. In African talk, we talk and we spread the word. Spread the word, man. Do the science for yourself. Connect the dots for yourself, family, so you can see that what I'm saying is not absurd. It all makes sense if you put it together. That map is going to pop up, and when it pops up on the screen, I want you to look at that map and see for yourself what I'm saying. I mean, it's like breadcrumbs. It's that easy. Okay, I don't know if you can really see it, but all right, that little section right there, that pink section, that's Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Chad, and the Sudan. The war is here. Boom, that's an American base. That's an ally. That's an ally to him. Down here, we got a country that's, they fighting with their own. I hope they get it together. But this is a back door. This ain't nothing but a land grab and an attempt to build a momentum that they can push right into Burkina Faso and slowly chop down their neighbors. Because Chad has an army base. So what do you think will happen if we don't put the attention on Sudan? Then those forces win or gain enough momentum. Nigeria already dealing with Boko Haram right next door. Now they team up, and already there has been attacks in Burkina Faso by Islamic militants. They've lost, but they tapping, they testing the power, they testing the strength. And the Western powers are the ones who are backing it up, instigating it, and profiting off of it, the same way they do in your hood. Oh yeah, oh yeah, the same way they do in the hood. They instigate us, push us up against each other, and sit back and watch the show. And when we get through taking each other out, they come along and claim what they always wanted, the land. Think about it. Okusu. Hey, Wakusa, what's going on, family? It's your Ndugu, Shaka Jajaga Shakur, a.k.a. M. Costa, the Bush Doctor. I'm coming back at you once again. Check it. I need you to help me get this channel off the ground. I got a YouTube channel, brand new, under the Bush Doctor, DABUSHDOCTA. So, the show is called African Talk, where I bring it raw and uncut and truthful to the masses of people. All right? So help me so we can all wakusu. We can all wake up, clean up, and stand up. So I need you to subscribe, like, comment, share, all that stuff. And I don't do this for money. I do this from the heart for the people. So help me, help you, help me, help us. How about that? Love y'all.